Hey guys, what's going on? So on this episode of Iron Age Radio, I jumped the gun a little bit. The athletes were given the events for the Madness for Madison Classic, and I was excited. I wanted to share them with you guys, my loyal friends, listeners of Iron Age Radio, but we weren't supposed to yet. So they're going to be revealed live on Big Law's channel on Wednesday. So if you notice, there's kind of like a weird cut at around the 45-minute mark. Now you know why. All right, here we are, episode 2 of Iron Age Radio. I want to thank everybody who listened in last week and commented and liked the video and stuck around for this transition period that we're in, going from the Strong and Petty show to the Iron Age Radio show. I'm here with, we got easily the biggest podcast going right now in Western Canada. I'm sitting with Manitoba's Strongest Man, 2023, one of the 2024. Shit, I'm 2023. He's 2024. Andrew Langelaar.
Hey.
Thanks for coming, man. Appreciate it.
I was like kind of back, but the new show.
Yeah.
So
you
kind of returned, yes.
You're a return. You're a friend of the show. This is all. We're all in the Iron Age Radio family. So what I want to touch on a little bit with Andrew here is he is, I would say, in the front running right now with maybe, I would say you and Jeremy right now are the guys who are talked about right now for who is going to be the next pro to come out of Manitoba, the next pro strongman who's going to earn that pro status and join us on the circuit homme fort. Do you see yourself in that way as being like a contender for that? Like, is that something you ever think about, or?
It's a goal.
Yeah.
I try not to think about it too much. I mean, the more I think about it, the more I seem to underperform. I just kind of honestly am enjoying the sport, and
right.
Right, MSM, I just had a blast with the guys all day.
Yeah,
it worked out pretty well. And then Westerns, I was thinking about it, and I know you'll never let me say this, but I wasn't super happy with the way I performed that day. So it's kind of just trying to enjoy the sport and see what happens.
Right. It's an awkward position that you guys are kind of in a little bit too, where because you jumped in and you were good at it right away, I think that it kind of puts maybe a little bit of undue pressure, maybe from yourself, maybe externally as well too. To perform at a certain level or do a certain way, when it's like when I first started, like nobody was paying attention to how I was doing. Like nobody gave a fuck. You know, when Dan first started, you know, he was a smaller guy who was jumping in. Like his first non-novice show was a 105 show. Wow. You know what I mean? So guys weren't just he wasn't on people's radar at that point, and he had that opportunity just to kind of like just learn and make mistakes and have fun, and didn't feel like there was like as close of an eye on him. So I'm glad to hear that you're just having fun with it and just like taking it all in now.
Yeah, I mean, like, you hear stuff. I mean, I'd be lying if I said people haven't, given me their thoughts on how the show could go and, the scene. But it's part of the growth, the sports experiencing, right? I mean,
sure.
2 years ago, hey, you're saying I didn't get any, no one was really putting pressure on, but now, hey, like the top guys are getting pressure.
Right.
Even Brian was saying he posted that 500 by 4 safety squad there.
Yeah,
people are like, holy crap,
there,
man, like, big next year.
It's like, a little closer with the mic.
A little closer there.
Yeah, our producer says no good.
And so it's like the pressure is just, to me, really indicative that the sport's growing and reaching new faces, right? So it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's worth pointing out that, so in 2022, I went to Lemberg to compete in Prairie Giants and had an RH showing there. I think I got like maybe 5th or something, I think. And actually, Trevor Jarowski was there too. Didn't know him from a hole in the ground, but they were just like, they were announcing where guys were from, and he was like from Winnipeg, and I was like, what the fuck?
What?
Like, I had no idea. And guys were asking me, like, who is that guy? I was like, I don't know. And so that was an interesting little surprise introduction there. But like I went there and did okay, but I did exactly where people thought that Manitoba would be, behind the Saskatchewan guys.
Yeah.
You know, there was like Isaac Mays, Jeffers, Corey Balaberta was competing at that point. Sam Risling, these were guys who were still ahead of me at that point. Some of them still are, but there wasn't any pressure on Manitoba to do anything. You know what I mean? Like they were just like, oh, that's nice that a Manitoba guy is coming out here and gonna come get his butt kicked by us and whatever, right? So this is the first time I think in maybe a long time, like since Dom for sure, where there's like attention being paid to like what Manitoba's doing, and there's a little bit of pressure that comes with that to perform at a certain level.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just indicative that the sport's growing. I mean, you can see it in the numbers we had turning out. I think you said this is our biggest provincials ever. I mean, like our open men's division was insane this year. Best looking open men's division as well.
Absolutely. Oh yeah,
so
very,
we were
handsome.
all very handsome group of guys.
Yeah, for sure.
And you know what? We had a lot of fun. But it's like, and that's kind of thing where I think a lot of us, because we had such a good time, like, I don't know if you saw that picture that we got where we remade the Olympic medal ceremony.
I did, yes, I did see that.
It's like, hey, we're just having a good time,
Absolutely.
right? And I think that a lot of that kind of makes us forget that, like, oh, hey, these are guys who could potentially go pro one day because we're just guys having a good time at a local show, right?
Sure.
So, actually, real quick, sorry not to segue, but speaking of Isaac Mays, is he healing up okay? I saw he's like hunting moose and stuff. I don't know if anyone's heard of him.
So he's always been a guy where his competition and his strength comes very naturally to him. He works away from home a lot, and he'll just kind of train in whatever shitty, like, kind of small town gym he's in and stuff.
That makes sense.
And then when it's time to turn, and like he takes time away from the gym because he's like hunting or whatever it might be. And then all of a sudden when it's time to turn it up for competition season, it's just like, who is this guy? Like, it's just he's a very amazing, like, kind of like always ready to go guy like that. But as far as I know, Isaac Mays, and if anybody from Metal is listening and wants to give us some insight in the comments, the Achilles is healing well. He's putting weight back on it. He's training again, and I think that we'll be seeing him sooner than later.
Nice. Well, I met him very briefly when I went out to train with Jeffers and Keelan.
Oh, really cool.
Yeah, so nice guy. He's nice to me and all that.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, you mentioned I haven't seen anything from him in a while other than that gigantic moose. So
yeah,
that's good to hear.
Caught a huge moose. Yeah, but he's a guy where his social media kind of stuff kind of comes and goes based on how into the gym he is at that given time. And like I said, like for me, if I had the training schedule that he kept, holy fuck, would I suck at strongman. I would not be good at it, and he manages to still be good at it on an international level. So it's pretty amazing. Something I wanted to touch a little bit on too. So we're talking about provincials and all this shit. So now that the regular season has wrapped for you already quite some time ago now, but we're looking forward to this weekend already, unbelievably.
Yeah.
It's like we got Strongman Corp Canada, Nationals, Strongest Woman in Canada, Record Breakers, all being held in Moncton, New Brunswick, which is it blows my mind that it was a year ago that we had Nationals in Winnipeg already. Like, it's just that it felt like it was like a few months ago. It was so involved in such a huge part of my life for like a year that suddenly I was just like, it's been that long already? It doesn't make any fucking sense. So but you are one of the only. There's very few Manitoba guys who are going this year.
There's three of us total.
Three total. Yeah. So who do we got? We got you,
myself, Ryder, and Clint.
Ryder and Clint, yeah, absolutely. And so very interesting, like three different divisions too. Like Ryder's doing the teen thing, which is fucking great. Love that.
Yeah, I kind of bullied him into that.
Hey, that's what guys need, though. You know what I mean? Like I got like you. It's a sport where you need to be pushed to do things that you feel uncomfortable doing sometimes, because otherwise you'll just flounder. You know what I mean? And Ryder's 16 years old, so he's not exactly like
he's like 16, 17. He's like 255. Right
yeah,
now.
He's a monster. So
he's eating.
Last year there was a kid at Nationals here who just like crushed it, ran away with it, like just was like an unbelievable talent. And I think that Ryder could fill that spot this year too. Like as a
could be. It'll be a confidence thing for him. Okay, I'm being totally honest. Yeah, it'll be a confidence thing for him. I mean, he's newer than I am, and I'm coaching him just because hey, he's from my gym and all that stuff. I'll help the kid out. And I'm new, so he's being coached by a new coach who's figuring things out as he goes. So, but I mean, the kid's just so brutally strong.
And he does have a little bit of just like dumb strength to him, where he just picks things up and makes it happen. You know what I mean? Like, he's not like the technique's not there yet, but he's a teenager.
He's also very easy to coach that way, though.
That's great.
Where I tell him to do something and he doesn't question it. He's not overthinking. He's just like, yep, let's go.
Awesome.
And so I could see him making a splash there. Yeah. I mean, I know that he's all nervous because all the other kids are 18 and stuff. I'm like, yeah, but it's your first year, and
I mean, it's
advice that I should take, but it's like, hey man, like, it's your first year, let's go have fun. His family's coming out, they're going out to support him and stuff. They're road tripping, so I sent my comp bag and Thrones monitors out with them.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that's peace of mind for both me and Thrones.
Yes.
But,
that's very nice. I like that. Thank you. Shouts out to them for helping out and bringing all the streaming stuff out there. Yeah, I mean, and we always see Ryder's family at all the shows and stuff, and they're awesome. Yeah, my mom like ran into Ryder's grandma and out of the country this weekend.
Apparently, you guys are like distantly know a family friend somewhere in the States or something. He was telling me about this. There's like some weird
I wouldn't doubt that at all.
Connection.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. Unless all that rural Manitoba bullshit,
Yeah.
And actually, let's. I kind of want to. I want to get into the Canadian stuff. That'll be kind of like the meat of the matter here. But I do want to talk a little bit about Iron Image in Selkirk. You talked about how it's you training there. There's you have rider training there with you. It's turning into a bit of like it's a huge multifaceted facility, but there is a strongman community there now all of a sudden that wasn't there last year.
Yeah, and it's really weird how much it's popped up. But I mean, like I said, I told Tom I was thinking about giving it a try, and at the time, like I bought a log, and then I was training with that, and then came in one day and they had a new axle, and new wagon wheels, and crash pads. I'm like, oh, okay, this is new. And then now, they've let me put stones outside, and Tom's looking at options to bring them inside for the winter.
Sweet.
So very supportive. And I mean, I know a big thing for you, we've talked about this, was, putting your money where your mouth is. I mean, Tom came out and did 2 shows.
Love that. Yeah,
and
that
absolutely loved it, by the way.
That meant a lot to me as not only as the guy who's running the strongman stuff, but just as a gym owner.
Yeah.
Like I really love seeing guys who it's like, hey, like this isn't really my thing. He's not like he wasn't training for strongman too much leading into that, I'm sure.
No.
And he's a powerlifter at heart. He's done weightlifting before in the past and stuff.
Yeah.
But for him to be like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna give it a shot. Like that really means a lot to see. Like that makes it easy to support his gym. For me,
it does.
You know what I mean? That makes it a lot easier for me to kind of give the cosign to it. Like if someone's in Selkirk, I'd be like, no question, hands down, this is the place that you should be going.
Well, and they're just always improving. So I mean, like, I won't say too much because I don't know what Tom wants shared now, but I know like they're looking to upgrade turf and expand a bunch of other stuff. So it's like the changes in, I think I've only been there for maybe like a year and a half because I moved out to Selkirk and was training at home for a while and doing all that stuff. But in the year and a half or so that I've been there, they have dramatically overhauled that facility.
Yeah,
and every single time it gets better. And now we've moved all the cardio stuff. Those treadmills were fun to move. That should be a strong carrying treadmills. But
treadmills.
Now that's all over there. Well, that opens up all sorts of space on the main box floor, and they've already added new equipment, and they're getting rid of other stuff. So it's really conducive to it, and he is growing it. And now, we've got myself, Adam, sorry photography fans, Shelby's competing next year.
Oh, there we go. That's great.
Yeah, we'll find someone else.
Her photography will be sorely missed. She kills that shit. So.
She does. I'll see if I can talk her into doing a couple, or maybe I'll just hopefully get her good enough she can qualify for provincials at Tolstoy.
There you go.
Shoot the rest of it.
But
you got Adam, who I didn't realize he's put on like 30 pounds this year.
That's awesome. Good for him.
He's really bulking up. Michelle, who I know is really looking forward to getting back under a barbell after her surgery.
She's probably just foaming at the mouth now.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel bad for her.
Yeah, it's tough.
We consider Gordon Jocelyn honorary members.
Sure, yeah, why not? Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like there's that whole kind of little crew out there in the train, and it's been awesome. And actually, speaking of, before I forget, gym owners, James Cornelson has signed up for the Rookie Challenge in Winkler.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I may have bullied him into it.
Holy
he goes,
smokes.
I said, I'm like, hey, there's an axle. You're a weightlifting guy. You can split jerk. And he goes, well, you don't say. So yeah, we got him signed up.
Wow. Shouts out to Cornerstone then. That's fantastic. Yeah. I didn't know that. That's really great to see that. I love seeing these guys crossing over like this. I love seeing that there's just guys are just having fun with these different sports. Like it's so easy to get so like blinders on and thinking about your one thing, you know what I mean? That like you can jump it, like say like Tom doing the Tolstoy show, like you can jump in and even if you train for a couple weeks leading into it, or if you don't, and just do the events, like you're not gonna fuck your shit up. You're not gonna, you know what I mean? Like I know that you have other focuses and stuff. This is great news. I'm so happy to hear this. This is my dream come true. Is that all the gym owners, most of the gym owners, not all of them, but most of the gym owners are competing in strongman competitions. I fucking love that. That's fantastic. Iron Image is like when we talked about this a little before. We've talked with them on the show here before, the old show, but we had one of our the first show that I ever hosted and put on was in Iron Image.
Right, the old blue walls and stuff.
when they had just started and it was just the one big room, and even then I was like, this is a great gym.
I'm pretty sure it's still Ryan Froze's Instagram profile picture is still that.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
So
yeah, it is. And me and Dom put it on there. It was like a novice competition. And right away, I was like, man, these guys are a huge boon to just the strength scene. First of all, for hosting us there, because I'll tell you right now, we fucked up their floor pretty good with some of that stuff. So shouts out to them for never really giving us a hard time about that, because we didn't have any money to pay for it. So they were really cool. But we you know, and to see the building that was the way that it was then, like to watch some of those videos and see how it is now, where they've expanded it to the next building over, and like or the next part of the building over, and they have like a spin class, and they have all this shit there that's just like. It's hard to really put into words the work and effort that they put into that gym.
It's
They're
borderline
never
turning into a small town health club.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is awesome. It's just something for everybody,
Yeah.
and you see that from the clientele. Like you got everybody in there, which is it's pretty awesome.
They're not resting on being a good gym. They're always trying to be a better gym, which I think is always really great.
Yeah.
So let's get into a little bit about your Canadian stuff here. So this show is really interesting. The events for it are really interesting because it's and these shows typically are this way, but it's a very like if you're not a conditioned strongman, you're gonna have a problem at this show. Like if you're not ready, if you're not recovering well between very taxing events, if your anaerobic conditioning isn't up for during the events, you're gonna have a hard time with this show.
Yeah, and I mean, well, one thing I guess if you want to start from front to back, maybe.
Sure, yeah, let's do it.
One thing I found kind of funny is that they've got the brilliant idea of doing the arm over arm, and then we drag it back, so you're saving the volunteers.
Love it.
But
Love
then
that.
the log is being loaded a million times. So I'm like, hey, sorry, volunteers, you get a break here, but
and
you
high,
can work.
high
right?
pressure for those volunteers too. You got they got
So
quick hands
that's the one
to be
thing,
moving.
and I'm gonna have to ask that is like, I think it's a 90-second limit. I haven't actually looked too much. I want to ask at the athletes meeting, but it's like, are they stopping the time? How are they counting for variations? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how that works.
I mean, my understanding is I'm probably gonna have to bring it down and just stop it dead.
Yeah, I
banging
think
my
so.
wrist up, right? And like, hey,
Yeah.
make sure it stops so they can come in and do their thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, also like, if I factor in, let's assume that everything there is going to be treated as a max effort every single rep.
Right.
You're looking 10, 12 seconds under the log
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
get a max rep.
For sure.
So, well, even in 90 seconds, if it's not stop time, you're maybe looking at 5 attempts.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So starting at 300, you go 300, 320, 340, 360, 380. There are guys who, I think there's a gun guy from Quebec who pressed 390 on JF's log.
Yes.
But it's like, well,
that Mark guy, I think, right? Or somebody else maybe.
Kevin Bilodeau.
Oh,
I
okay.
think.
Cool,
yeah.
okay.
And so it's like, there's a couple guys who have a big press like that. I know like he's been pressing a strict 360, whatever.
He's been killing
But
some
it's like,
pressing.
how many reps do we actually have time for?
Yeah.
And then the other thing too is, I mean, like, it's going to split a lot of points.
Yep, it sure is.
Right? I mean, you could win with 380, but then if 4 guys split points below you or however, like who knows where it's going to end up.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting event to me. My log sucks, so anything that's not purely focused on.
What I think is interesting about this competition, and I'm kind of jumping ahead in the events here a little bit, but if we look at it like, because I kind of took some time the other day to look through some of the guys in the open weight division, just get a feel for who's kind of good at what and whatever. I couldn't find everybody, but I found who I could find. And there's a lot of guys who are very statically strong. There's a few of those guys. And then there's a lot of guys who are more athletic and they can move well and they can do like, so some of like, say like the sandbag medley is going to be a good one for them. And if there's a guy who, or, a couple guys, whatever, who can sort of split that difference a little bit and who are very strong or who are good at everything.
Yeah.
You don't have to be great.
Just be a well-rounded
Just be
strongman.
good at everything. And if you can get second or third in a bunch of events, you don't have to really get first in anything. And I not to polish your knob here too much, but I think that is a category that you fall into, is that you have an athletic background, so you have like a condition. You're a fucking big guy right now.
Yeah.
But I think that you will have the ability to recover like during and between these events in a way that some guys might not be able to. But also, you say your log sucks and that's fine, but like, you're not going to zero the log.
No, and that's one event.
Right.
Right. So even if I get 340, that's good points.
Yeah, and as far as the static strength of this competition goes, it's really just the log, and then with it being that ascending thing, it's pretty dynamic too. Like the deadlift is for reps, the arm over arm is going to be crushing, the sandbag is going to be crushing, the stones is in a run. It's lots of things where it's like moving.
I totally agree.
And there's no like rest event either.
Well, what's interesting though is that because there is no rest event, but they're doing it in heats.
Yeah.
So you get a break in between event. I think it's you do the first 3 and then you do the last 2.
Yeah.
I think it's how, so you get a breather in between.
Okay.
Which is interesting. So I don't know how that's going to play, right?
Right.
I mean, some guys hate having a long break. I don't mind it. Just
Right.
go sit, have some food, whatever. But no, I think it'll be interesting because you are going to have I mean, there's also that, I don't want to use any adjectives, but that Inukshuk bag, which is suddenly no one has one because they're like
They were
always out of stock. And,
yeah.
it's
like
hard to
Tre-
get. But it's
Trevor
like,
got one 2 days ago, I think.
well, and also like I just have a hard time buying single-use things.
For sure. Yeah.
Right? It's like I can do the same thing with a Husfell. It's a carry.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
Carries a carry.
Yeah, but it sounds like everyone's kind of on the same page for that. I think like 1 or 2 guys have touched and they're like, it's awkward, but if you have long enough arms, you can just kind of like bear hug it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, whatever.
It's low, is I think might be the problem for some guys.
Yeah, but I mean, at a certain point, everything's low for me.
Right. Yeah, and that's you know, we're talking about these guys who are when we're in the open weight division. Some of these guys aren't built to get that low. You know what I mean? And the guys who are. That's going to help them. The guys who retain some of that athleticism and flexibility and mobility and stuff, right?
And also, depending on how long that sandbag, man. I mean, car deadlift's car deadlift. I think we can kind of jump that. I'm not really overly worried about its front handle deadlift. I'm confident in it. It's lighter than we had at Magnus.
Right.
Because no one talked about this. I don't know if you ever heard this, but when they weighed that car deadlift at Magnus, it was like 773 in the hands.
Yeah, I did.
It was not 725.
Yeah, it was quite heavy.
It was like, oh, that's what Magnus was, right? I'm like, nope.
Yeah, no, it was. So
heavy, depending on how they weigh it and where it is and its front handle, I mean, I don't know, right? It's a deadlift. Bang it out for reps. You know, don't stop.
I always tell it to people too. Like, so say Trevor's been training on our car apparatus here, and ours is really hard. It doesn't bend at all. It doesn't like it's just set up sort of shitty in our corner over here, and every time that I've had to use or had car deadlift in an event, and I've prepped on this one, I've gone into it being like, man, this might be rough. Like I wasn't hitting the weight that I wanted to hit on that, and then all of a sudden you hit it on one that's a little bit better, and you're like, oh, this is actually pretty. Like it's like if you whatever weight that they say is on like a car deadlift or whatever it might be, there should be a little almost an asterisk to be like, but who knows if the machine's good or not, or who knows? It's like it's really hard to say.
It's not like you're hitting a PR. Did you win or not?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's the same for everybody. It's like when they misloaded the front hold to 65 pounds at Westerns.
Right. Yeah.
You know, or the Dinnies were like an extra 10 pounds each.
Yeah.
It's like whatever. It's the same for everybody. Who cares?
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not really too worried about that one. It's a deadlift. Bang it out. Like I know everyone's just training there. Pretty much everyone I've seen is just training a deadlift from the floor. And a couple guys have like played with the wagon wheels. I've done some wagon wheel work, but it's like it's a deadlift.
Yeah.
Not too worried about it.
And you're a guy where you have a pretty outstanding deadlift from your powerlifting background. How do you feel like your training's been going, like moving from looking for that 1 rep max or that 1 heavy single, I should say, to like rep work, like you're finding in strongman now? Like, are you
totally honest? I haven't had any problems with reps.
No,
I've always been good at reps, but I mean, like I hit that 705 for 4 pretty comfortably, and I mean, like I've never really trained rep deadlifts.
Right.
Like I did a little bit after provincials in February, just because I was like beat up.
Right.
And I will definitely be after this because it's provincials, novice show, log show, Tolstoy, MSM, Westerns. So this is my 8th show now this year. I'm done. I need an off season, so I'll be like touching nothing over 500 pounds for the next little while, just doing reps.
Absolutely.
But so I haven't had any problems, right? Like at Tolstoy, I had no problems. Magnus had no problems, and I've been training max deadlift, so it's like I'm not too worried about it. I've got good conditioning. My blood pressure's perfect.
Awesome. Yeah.
Somehow, so I don't know what's going on.
That's the important
stuff.
But
it's like, so I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm cardiovascularly healthy. It'll be fine. I'm not too worried about it.
Great.
And plus, I'm training the other movements, right? So like the arm over arm, that's plenty taxing.
Right.
And again, it's like, what is heavy? So I've just been hitting it. We've got the big 50 kilo plates at the gym, so I've been loading up the prowler and pulling that.
Yeah, it's all
that's heavy.
Yeah.
But then I put the same amount of weight on Gord's sled on his gravel driveway, and it's light. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's whatever. I'm hoping the friction. I think it'll be. I think that's the next event, right? Would be then going.
I think it is. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like I've been getting plenty of cardiovascular work training that,
right?
Especially with the backwards drag,
right?
The one thing that I'm not loving is I think they're using TRX handles. Is what Sam had posted on his story.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you see the apparatus they made?
The
big wood things with the
lobster traps. Yeah,
so
I love that.
I'm like, well, there's going to be a lot of friction because that pressure treated wood is wet and it's perforated.
Yeah.
So that's going to grip.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah, I never thought about that.
But then those handles, I'm like, well, our guy's going to lose seconds on the handles, right?
Sure.
Like versus just having a big strap.
Yeah.
So it's like we have TRX handles. I've been training them, and it's like I'm not worried about it. I got hand-eye coordination, but it's like.
Did you buy lobster traps to specify?
No. Unfortunately, they kept saying that I wasn't a fisherman. I didn't qualify, and I don't know. they don't love us prairie boys.
That's too bad. That's really
it's
a shame.
unfortunate.
We'll have to get some lobster
Some lobster
apparatus
traps.
here.
I should have made some.
Yeah,
That's
for,
on me. I should have.
for next year when they have the lobster arm over arm drag.
Well, I asked Sam, is it going to be loaded with lobsters at the weight?
Oh, that'd be cool.
I was like, does the winner get to keep the lobster?
And that's dinner time at the end.
Yeah, exactly,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
It's like, hey, if I win this event, I get the lobster.
That's tremendous.
She informed me it would not be that way, but there will be lobster.
Well, Sam, you don't think about it. I guess that would be a great way to promote to make the show a little more special for all the athletes.
Every person in all of Canada coming. For
Absolutely,
the lobster.
yeah, absolutely.
But so that'll be a good event. I think it'll be interesting to see how the field is on that because, like, well, what's heavy? So if you tell someone, hey, train heavy, I mean, to you that might be 50,000 pounds on a truck, right? To me, that might be 5 plates on a sled on bad turf, whatever. Someone else that's pulling on, like, I know Billy Hornaday. Remember him from Westerns?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
He's been training like sled pulls on rubber mats.
That's how the metal guys do it too. And
it's like,
so
I mean, I get
brutal.
it if it works. Yeah. So it's like he's training it that way. It's like, well, everyone's heavy is different.
Right,
At the end of the day, on game day, it's just going to be pull, and you're not getting any momentum out of it.
Right. If I were
do think they're giving us puckboard. Because Sam's training, she's been pulling it with a puckboard under, and she's been able to slide.
To slide yourself.
So I do think there's going to be a puckboard, which would be nice.
Yeah, I think like when I think about a show like like an event like that, I steal a phrase where it's like heavy is a or weight, or what is it? Weight is a number, heavy is a feeling. Yeah. So as long as you're going heavy, whatever that means to you. And you're putting in a level of effort that you're like, that was fucking heavy, that was hard.
Yeah.
The poundage on it doesn't really matter that much. It's really going to matter that you're making something heavy, and then next week you make it a little bit heavier, and you just progress or go faster or whatever it might be and progress it in some capacity because, you're not going to be able to, like, that's where some of the people start to go a little bit crazy in strongman, like for their preps and stuff, is being like, how can I make this as exactly the same as it's going to be at competition? And realistically, just you got to live the real world and be like, that's not going to happen. You're just going to have to show up and do what you can do that day.
Well, it's like, look at the truck pull. I think it's a good example of this. It's like you can put $45,000 truck or 45,000 pound truck pull on your promotion, and the public's going to go, ooh, that's amazing. You might go, oh, it's level ground. Okay, I'm fine.
Yeah, it'd be easy.
Right? It's like, oh, it's simple, but it's like the public thinks it's cool.
Absolutely.
For an event like this, I think this is an event that's for the athletes, not for the public.
Right.
Where they just say, just train heavy.
Yeah.
They're not going to give you the weights. It's going to be a cool looking apparatus. Just train heavy.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm kind of trying to keep it of like, okay, that was like hard. You know, like I'm sweating, I'm out of breath, I'm gassed, I've been training that pretty hard. So it's like not too, I'm actually excited for that event because I just want to see what it's going to end up being, and it's just a cool looking apparatus. I mean,
I love that. I like that they've Sam and Max, like, not that anybody thought they wouldn't do it, but they really went above and beyond with like the trophies and like the setup of the implements and stuff. And it's really going to be a fun competition to watch. And they just, if anybody's going to give it their all to this event, it's going to be those two. So following that one will be an event that I think will really, in a few different ways, could really decide this competition. And I mean that in that I think that a lot of guys are going to get bad points in this one, some of the guys, and then some of those same guys are going to be affected on the next event by still being crushed from this last one.
Yeah.
And I think that this is an event that some guys have probably fucking hated. They probably hated from the moment that they saw it. This is one that I would be like, I can't wait for that event. Like for myself personally, where I'm like, this is one where I could potentially win the event, where I could at least get some very good points. And I'm pretty good at when I have one of these events that are just like soul draining, like really brutal carries like that, kind of just bouncing back for the next little bit. You give me, like, I'll go throw up and then I'll have a few minutes and I'll kind of just be okay afterwards. Yeah. But for some of these guys, I really think that this is going to be a problem for them. Like, what do you perceive for yourself for this, or foresee for yourself?
For myself, I'm not too worried. The only thing is I really haven't trained it much because I just don't have a sandbag that heavy. Okay. Garrett was nice enough to send me his 350, and I haven't had time to fill it. But I was only like 3 weeks out.
I've got a half full 350 right there for about 3 months now.
There we go. But so it's like I just haven't really had the time to train. I'm training off the stones where I'm like not really too worried about my strength getting into the chest and carrying it. I think it'll be fine for me, honestly, and I'll be curious to see is like, well, is there a time limit between when you finish the loading and then you go to the distance? Because this is an event for time. They made it very clear that the distance carry with the Inukshuk is what is going to determine the winner of that event.
Right, yes.
My thought on it, honestly, is that, well, how long did Husafell and Magna-Stick. That probably took the longest of all the events, I'd say.
Yeah, I would say so.
Set
yeah.
up and carrying. And,
reset.
I mean, some guys just decided to go till they passed out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I think that honestly what they're trying to do is pre-exhaust the carry with the steeplechase.
Yeah, I would agree
hopes
with that.
It goes a little faster.
I would agree with that.
I'll be curious if there's a time limit on the steeplechase because 2 300-pound sandbags with
I would
4
have to
picks,
assume that there is. Yeah, I would have to think so.
That alone is
That's
brutal.
Yeah,
I mean, because what did you guys do at CSM? Like, you had some heavy bags, but it was comparable.
I think it was 300 and 350, I think.
So, an amateur show. And,
it was high, yeah.
Right? So, I don't know how high they're going to have the bar or whatever. But it's like, that could crush some dudes.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. I know there's some guys who've been training it really religiously and they've been really enjoying it.
Yeah.
And we'll see how that all pans out. I mean, I'm just going to grab it, stick it in my chest, and go and kind of just dump it over the bar.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can do. Yeah.
Not making the same mistake I made at Westerns. I'm going to actually lap the bag this time.
Hey, there you go. That's a good idea.
That was horrible. I don't know what I was thinking there.
You live and you learn, right?
One of those silly mistakes I wasn't happy with.
Yeah.
But so you know, it's I've got a strategy for it. I'll be okay. I know I can take a Husafell and Nookshuk carry for a ride.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
And I know from provincials that if I really had to, it doesn't seem to kill me too much to kind of shrug it up.
Sure.
And with a grip shirt, I'm fine.
You'll be good with that, yeah. We did at CSM. We had it was the steeplechase as well. It was I think it was 300. I don't remember. 320 maybe. I forget what it was. It was a sandbag over load, and then the Husafell sandbag over and load. And I was kind of just like standing there because I was up first, and so I'm standing there, and JF walks up. He's like, "Do you think that bar's too high?" And I was like, "Fuck no." I was like, "This is like
this is what I want."
I was like, "This I want it to be fucking high because I want to sewer a guy like Ben Court or Simone or whoever." Where I was like, "This is my fucking event." And then when I got that Husafell, and I was like, "Here we go," and I fucking went to extend with it, and just the bottom like part of the thing hit it, and just like right in that moment, I froze, and I was like, "I should have said it was lower. I should have said lower." Fuck! And I was just like, I was so
instant regret.
I just was like, I was just in my I had this conversation in my head. I'm like, "You're so fucking dumb. Why didn't you say put it lower? Like you could have." So that changed that event for me.
Oh jeez. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Like, depending on how high the bar goes. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. So that'll be that I think like standard height for the stones and like loading in general is 54, but I don't know if that counts for like a steeplechase type thing. Like it might go lower. I don't know.
Well, another thing too is, are they gonna raise it between divisions, or they're just gonna keep? I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea what their plan is.
When we do it here, we make the U80 guys do the same height as the open weight guys. We give a real trial by fire to like Emmerdale and Garrett and those guys.
Yeah, why not make them work for it? You know, they're strong enough.
So then the last event of the day, everyone at least a crowd favorite, if it's not the competitors' favorites, but I'm sure it's one of your favorites.
I like stones.
The Atlas Stones, yeah. So
I like rocks.
Yeah, you like rocks, absolutely. They that will be a good event for you. You've shown that you're good at stones. You're good at a stone run.
Yep,
You've done a much heavier stone run than what's at this one, I think, right? What's the heaviest stone here?
385.
Yeah, so you'll be fine.
Yeah. And I'm really happy with how stone's been coming. Like, I made myself a 375, and I've just been training extensions with that.
Beautiful.
Shout out Lucas Haddon.
Oh yeah,
I took his video where he's talking about don't train to a height, just train for full extension.
That's 2 times in 2 episodes that Lucas Haddon's got a shout out on this show. You better start paying us for this.
He's kind of the best.
He's what I said that he's like an unofficial like he we like Tristan is Western Canada's favorite international pro. But Lucas Hatton's kind of like an honorary.
He's right
like
up there.
like yeah. we really like Lucas Hatton around here.
Well, and the other thing, did I tell you what he yelled at me at Westerns?
He yelled at me at Westerns too, but
because I went out to the log and I hit the first rep super easy and I missed the second one, and then I put the log down. I'm like, I can't believe I did that. And you hear, "Where's your heels?" Because he was commenting on my gold lifters.
Oh, you didn't wear them?
And I looked down. I'm wearing my barefoot shoes. I'm like, oh, so another stupid mistake I was talking about. Yeah. So thankfully, log is first. I cannot screw that up. I'm good this time.
There you go.
If I deadlift in lifters, well, then I'm really screwed up.
It's so funny that he yelled that to you too, where he's like that could do nothing but fuck you up.
I know, it's not even like, it's like, "Where's your heels?" Like a little sarcastic.
Yeah, that's fucking hilarious, man.
But it was hilarious. So there you go, Lucas Haddon. But yeah, I've been really just training that high extension and just trying to get it pretty much up to my chest.
Great.
And I'm at a point where I'm happy with it now.
Awesome.
And I've been, keep tacky out of the gym, that kind of stuff. I'm training at the end of the session, so it's like I'm hitting sets of 3 to 5 after squatting,
that's great.
after doing arm over arm.
Awesome.
So I'm feeling really good about that.
You won the stone run at Manitoba Strongest Man. Like if it just being real, like how many times did you train stones before that run?
Once.
Once.
Yeah.
So watch out, good stone loaders in Canada.
I will say though, Mr. James Jeffers decided to go and did you hear about? Did I tell you this? So Andrew Wilson
I was
messaged
gonna say
me,
me, but I won't.
and Jeffers messages me there, and he messaged me, go, hey, like how heavy a stone do you think you're gonna hit? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, for the record breaker. I'm like, it's like 56 inches, right? He's, yeah, well, Jeffers thinks you can go heavier than the 455. I'm like, he said what? He's like, yeah, he says you can go heavier. I'm like, I did a 425 to like 40 inches. I think that might be reaching a little bit. So now Jeffers is getting me in trouble out there. We're going to have heavier stones that I'm going to have to attempt.
Well, if I know one thing about Jeffers is that he is a mind games kind of guy. So whatever's happening right now is some sort of long plan that's way
Some long-term plan
like in 2026, it'll all become very clear to us what's going on.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
That's the way he operates. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, so now I got to hit a really heavy stone the day after.
The day
So
after a
that'll
big
be fun.
competition, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be good times.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah, the record breakers one is that the only record breaker event? Only, but is that the one record breaker event that you're doing?
No, I'm doing all three.
You do. There you go.
I'm out there. Why
What are they?
Sandbag to shoulder, circus dumbbell, and stone.
Cool.
So it's stone to 54 inches, and
Nice.
it's like I'm there. What else am I gonna do?
Yeah. What the
May
fuck,
as
right?
well-
Yeah.
may as
No,
well have
I love
fun
that
time.
attitude. I love that attitude.
Yeah, I told Ryder he's doing all three too. It's like
Great.
have fun. It'll be good.
Do you see yourself next year competing as many times as you did this year?
No.
No. Eh?
So, and well, I should say it depends, and that's why I say like this show kind of dictates that, where it's like the goal is to go and get a pro card.
Right.
If that happens, then yeah, I'll compete much less next
I
year.
guess you would you just defaulted to having less shows available to you. Right?
The thing that I would struggle with is I don't want to compete this often next year, but at the same time, if I don't get the pro status, I don't feel like I've earned that right to bypass the amateur circuit.
Sure. I can understand that.
And that's where that would come in, where it's like, okay, at least I'd have a longer off season. But again, it's like even already, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it or not, but I'm confirmed for Keystone.
Cool. Nice.
So that's in April.
Yeah. Keystone's a powerlifting meet for anybody
Yeah,
who's
it's
not
a
aware.
money meet. I want to try to push the record close to 2100.
Nice.
That'd be just
Nice.
get back into it.
Sweet.
Then Westerns, it looks like it's a 2-day event in June.
Are they doing
I
2
think it's-
days?
I think it's 6th and 7th is what they posted in Devon. We can road trip, which is nice. Don't have to
I'm looking forward to the
Don't have to fly to the
competition.
island
It's
this
just
time.
2
Yeah,
days.
2 days
I
a week.
I don't love multi-day shows.
So that'll be interesting. And then wherever we decide to put MSM. So already I have to defend it, right?
Right, yeah,
You
yeah,
can't
yeah.
just not.
No. What are you, Devin?
Exactly, yeah.
You're not going to do that. You're not
Rest-
going to
rest
walk
in
away and not let somebody beat you to become the new champion, right? You got to that'd be heinous.
Never would do that.
No,
Never, ever.
no.
But so, I mean, I think it's a pretty common thing. I mean, in my opinion, and this is no disrespect to any of the athletes in the country, but Sam Beliveau has no business defending her title. She's got bigger things to do.
Right.
I think it's awesome she's defending.
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
just think that speaks to that level of pride that those titles mean.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you got to defend that. So that's
Yeah.
already 3 shows potentially within a couple months of each other.
Yes.
So it's like, that's a lot.
Yeah, Sam rules for doing that. Like just as an aside from the point that you're making there, Sam does rule for doing that because she has the Rogue show like right after.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Mel's not doing Strongest Woman in Canada, right? She's going right to Rogue.
Mel never the strongest woman in Canada. Get
Fair
involved, Mel
enough.
Peacock. But she no. What's that?
Female
Yeah,
Mitch
the
Hooper.
lady
There you
Mitch
go.
Hooper over here, Mel Peacock. No, but Sam is this is gonna sound weird to say this, but she's very similar to some of the male athletes where, to JF Caron, CSM mattered. Jimmy Paquette, CSM mattered. Max Boudreau, CSM matters. Westerwinski, Gabe Reum, like these are guys who are big fucking dogs on the scene, and they know that CSM is still an important show, and they still do it. And so Sam is on the lady side of that with Swick, where she's like, this show matters, and especially too because Swick is sort of still in like an infancy phase right now, where it's like it's important that she shows that it matters by still doing it.
So you're
too.
saying that a high-level Canadian athlete who has a lot of popularity should do the local shows in order to grab attention?
You know what? I am saying that actually. That's actually
Wow.
exactly what I'm
That's
saying.
really insightful.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that. but anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take away from what you were
No,
saying. But
okay,
but I agree that the shows that you're going to do are going to be important, and selection is going to be important. And I'm going to put you on the spot here right now. This is a big question that I think that a few people would like to know the answer to. I'm not talking about cockiness, confidence, whatever. Fuck that shit. I'm not talking about that shit. Do you podium at nationals this year? Do you see yourself? Are you imagining yourself on the podium at nationals this year?
I think if things go my way, yeah.
Great, love it.
Yeah.
So
And honestly, though, if you're going out there with any other thought,
Right. Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's. I think you kind of said the same thing, where it's like, if you're going into a show and you're not thinking, yeah, I am the best, I'm going to podium, I'm going to win. It's like, well, you're not going to have a great day.
Right.
I mean, like, humiliating to admit this, okay? But I genuinely went into Westerns thinking I can get on the podium.
Right.
That was a genuine thought in my
but-
head, right? But you have to have that mentality of like, hey, if things go my way and
Right.
things don't happen and Jeffers trips and Colton
Sure.
drops the log on his head, hey, I could be on the podium, right?
But-
it's like you hope those things don't happen, but you have to go into a show having some expectation of like, if things go my way, this could happen.
This is sort of something that I've been kind of like wrestling with in my own head, is the idea, because I was just talking to one of my athletes about this, where he's like, I want to be confident, but I don't want to jinx it. And I was like, hey, first of all, you need to remove the idea of jinxing from your head, because that's not a real thing. It's not going to happen. And I know that that's like a culture thing, whatever you always say, I don't want to jinx this. That's not real. You can't jinx something. Yeah. It's just you underperformed or whatever. But the idea of like being confident is you being like, I'm going to go there. And if you're like, I'm going to go there and do really well at this competition, I know that I fucking can, blah, blah, blah. And the problem is that all it takes is one bad event, and that house, if it's not real confidence, if it's just you pretending to be confident, it just the house of cards falls, right? What you need, or what one needs when they're talking about being confident as an athlete or as a competitor. So I'll give an example of my own here. So when I did CSM, I was feeling really good. After the third event, I was halfway through, I was sitting in third place, and I was like, that's unexpected. So I was just like riding a high. I was feeling very confident. I was happy. And I knew the next event was the pressing event, which was not going to be my friend. So I did shitty in that one. And then part of the confidence, though, is being like, that's fine. I can rattle that off and just move on. Confidence doesn't mean that everything goes perfectly for you. Confidence doesn't mean that you're like, I am confident that I'm going to do well, and then everything went exactly how I went, so that's why I was confident. You can be confident and be like, this is not going the way that I want it to, but I'm confident that I can turn this around, or I can make it at least the best of a bad situation, or whatever it is. And this idea of, like I said, like jinxing yourself, or being like I shouldn't be confident because what if I do poorly and then I'll got myself all excited. That's not the way that works, or it shouldn't be the way it works, at least.
I totally agree. I mean, like it goes back to like what we kind of talked about the first time I was here, was being honest with yourself, right? Where I know I'm probably coming out of the log fourth or fifth.
Sure.
I genuinely think there's some really strong dudes, if they have the clean endurance and they have the stamina. I'm probably coming out of that log in fourth, fifth, mid pack.
Sure.
I firmly believe that I'll be T1 or second kind of thing for deadlift. There's a couple of guys with big pulls, but it's like I know what I'm capable of. I firmly believe I can win the stones. I just like rocks. So it's like I'm good there, and I firmly think I could probably win the arm over arm. Cool. Given that Pat's one of the best, and I was right there with him at XM.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I feel like I've been training that event. I know I can do well in that event.
Yep.
So it's like, I'm not saying that it's a difference with powerlifting. You know what you lift. I'm not going to go and be like, I can beat Jesus Oliveira. It's like, no, you can't. He squats 1,000 pounds.
It would take like an act of God.
He'd have
something,
to blow out his meniscus in the draw, right?
Something horrible would have to happen.
Something that you don't want to have happen, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, but with this, it's like, hey, a guy wears the wrong shoes and he slips on the backwards pole.
Sure, yeah,
right?
that
Simple
stuff
thing
happens.
like that, where it's like, you're thinking about these things. I said, I know log won't be my friend. That's just the reality of it. My press is just not that great. I think I'm good for 340 if the peak goes well. Maybe 360's there. Maybe. Sure. I doubt it, but I'm comfortable knowing that. And if 340 is a grinder, I'm not going to go for 360. I'll just take my points, go rest, get the next one, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And just be honest with it. But I think if I have the day I want to have, I don't think it's unreasonable.
When I did my first CSM, people who don't know much about strongman were asking if I was going to win. And I was like, well, I kind of hope not, because for me to win, something horrible would have to happen to about 3/4 of the roster, and I don't want that to happen to them. So,
that's exactly it, right? Where it's
like the Earth would have to open up and swallow Westerwinski, both the Rayum twins, and I don't want that to happen to them.
No, exactly.
But that's interesting though. And like I said, I don't think that it's any kind of like. There's guys that they were sitting across from me and they were like, can't wait to podium at nationals, or I think that I'm going to podium at nationals. I would just have to give them sort of a blank look and be like, for sure, man, I can't wait to see that too. But there are a handful of guys in Manitoba right now who, if they said that I'm going there with the intention of podium or even winning, I can confidently look at them and say, I understand, and I think that you are I understand where you're coming from, and I think that you could do it too. I think that there's you, there's Jeremy, there's Pat. These are all, if Gord decided to throw his hat in the lightweight masters ring again, these are all like Trevor. These are guys where if they say I want to be on the podium for this, I believe them. You know what I mean? And,
100%. And I mean, like, honestly, right now, our entire men's open division would.
They would go fuck shit up.
They'd be there for a fight.
Yeah,
honestly, and
sure.
I know next year they will when it's a little closer. And,
I'm so excited for it next year when it's going to be. It's like closer. We say that it's like 16-hour drive, but it's going to be reasonably close, and there's going to be so many Manitoba people there. I'm just really looking forward to that. It's going to be a fun time, and boy oh boy, on Saturday are we going to get lit up at some cowboy bar out in Calgary. I'll tell you that right now.
Someone will throw their back out on the mechanical bull.
Absolutely, sure. Yeah. I'm very excited
and
for that.
It'll be really good. I think like next year's exciting, and whatever happens at this Nationals, like I'm excited for what happens next year.
Sure.
I mean, it'll be a year of kind of, I don't want to say rebuilding, but a pivot. So it'll be like it'll be really good. But I don't think anything's really going to change too much for the athletes wise.
Cool.
But and at the end of the day too, it's like the hunger's not going to change for the athletes. The guys still want to go.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Are you? So you said you're doing that Keystone meet. What's up with powerlifting for you right now?
I have unfinished goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the biggest thing. Like, I've been competing and for all the things with the MPA. Like, hey, that's the biggest dog in town right now. And I'm a technically still tested lifter. I confirmed with Brock I'm allowed to compete even though I'm competing in untested sports. So I have goals there that I can't leave without.
What's top one? Give me the number one goal.
I want all 3 records, or all 4 records for the Open. Yeah,
Gotcha.
I want to take Trevor's bench record. I want Ben Downs off the record books, and I want to push that total up somewhere. No one's going to touch it for the foreseeable future.
Sweet, cool, man. I love that. So
it'll probably be my last meet though. That's
really?
probably for the foreseeable future.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay,
I really have to just be honest and say like, look, strongman's better.
Strongman is better. There's no question.
Right, but like
about
objectively for me too, it's like if I was showing numbers where it's like, okay, I could go to Worlds and stuff, and it's like, okay, I might split my time, but it's like, objectively speaking, I'm doing better in strongman.
You're doing better in strongman. You're better built for it. And strongman's cooler. It's got cooler people in it. It's a better sport. Lots more stones. Lots more logs.
Logs and stones.
Yeah. I'm gonna. What time we got, Jen? Okay, we're gonna move on a little bit. Is there anything else you want to touch on with nationals before we move on?
Not particularly, just excited to get out there and a couple guys actually, like I said, a couple guys from Westerns and a couple guys that didn't get to meet at Westerns. So it's like, hey, Crisby, we've been talking for 9 months. It'll be good to actually put a face to a name.
Crisby rules. Yeah,
it'd be great. Like I said, it's just good to actually go and meet some guys.
He's a guy where I'm really excited to see how he does that competition too, because he's
looking strong right now.
He's looking very strong, and I love watching his training when I see it online.
Actually, that was one thing that you and Thrones didn't talk about was the fact that Bibby pulled out before the Stones. He said he's going to do a full show.
No.
I know that there's some Hooper animosity.
Yeah.
But he did make a point. He said, if you're going to do the full show, do what you say.
Do it. Yeah.
That irritated me about the Worlds. Just adding on to last week's there, that irritated me a little bit.
I put up a thing on the Manitobas Strongman thing, and God bless the person who said this. I love that you're getting involved, whatever. But I was like, who would you like to see come in for a seminar? And the person put Iron Bibby, and I was like,
"What?
I'm not going to fly someone from Africa for a seminar."
So
in Winnipeg.
I almost commented Mitch Hooper, just to get you going, but now he doesn't need his blood pressure spiked.
I actually inquired with Mitch Hooper very early on about doing a seminar here, like before.
Well, hey, him and Thrones are buddies.
That's right. Yeah, they're old friends.
They DM each other.
Yep.
So.
Before I think before he did Worlds, or maybe right after he did Worlds, I hit him up, and he was very honest and was like, my schedule just probably won't allow something like that. So
yeah.
What do you
know? What I will say, like, I have to respect the fact that he knows what he wants to do and just does it.
Yeah,
it's
for
like,
sure.
Do I agree with everything he does? No, but he's
No.
like, I want to be home with my family. I'm like, I can't really argue with that.
No,
man.
absolutely
Like,
no. That's very true. That's a good
fair,
point.
So
we're getting towards the end of the episode here, but Andrew, do you have anything that you want to add on any of the stuff that we talked about today, or just anything you want to get off your chest, or anything that you feel like
really.
you want to tell Gianna to fuck off or anything?
No, never. I value my life too much. I think honestly, I'm just excited to rest and sleep and recover because I'll be honest, my brain's halfway in the bag right now.
I can imagine.
I'm so tired.
Yeah, I can imagine.
mean, like, it's been a hard prep for me. I mean, like, well, I lost my grandpa 2 days after provincials, and then basically that week, and then I started prep.
Right.
So it's like I have not had a second to stop.
Sure.
So it's like my body hurts, my brain hurts, everything's just beat. So like, I want to go out, enjoy the show, have a good time. Result will be the result. And then I'm looking forward to an off season.
And just chilling after that?
Yeah, just chilling.
No doubt.
So,
all right. Well, with that, we're going to close out episode 2, Iron Age Radio. Thank you guys very much for taking the time to watch. Do all the shit that you would do with any other YouTube video or podcast or whatever. Tell your buddies about it. Like it and subscribe and do the comments. And
sign up for Iron Claw.
Report it. Yeah. Report it. Yeah. Sign up for Iron Claw. That's I do this every fucking episode now. How did I forget? Iron Claw is November 9th right here in Winnipeg in the Iron Age gym. A sign up that I'm very excited about is Jose Morneau is going to do it.
Oh.
Yes. Jose Morneau, who is, okay, really quick before we go here. I was talking to JF when we were hanging out after the show in St. Paul, Alberta. And I was kind of just like running stuff by him. I was like, oh, do you remember this guy from Manitoba? Remember whatever, like John Wade? He's like, yeah, I remember him. I was like, remember Dom? He's like, yeah, I remember him. And I was like, do you remember, do you know Jose Morneau? And he was like, oh, yeah, Jose, like, she's awesome. And then proceeded to tell me the story about this awesome grip challenge that she did where she was, like, hanging with the guys and stuff. And I was like, man, that fucking rules. So JF is impressed by her grip, and JF has one of the best grips of all time. So that's somebody that you want to come down and fucking check out.
That's exciting.
Yeah, we're very excited about that. And November 23rd, we have Deep Freeze here, WRPF push-pull. Gianna's the bent dime from JF here.
Well, you know, that is
JF
in fact bent.
Bent this dime. I don't know if you can even see that. With his fingers, just sitting on a table, and gave it to Gian. So we have our push-pull meet, which we're very excited about. WRPF is starting its creeping in invasion of Manitoba powerlifting, so we're just doing what we can to help with that. We are expecting some big bench press. So Scott is going to be looking for a 500-pound bench press. LaDainian's going to be looking to get somewhere in those mid-sevens with that one on his deadlift. It's going to be a really exciting day. Still time to register if you're interested. As for the Iron Claw, I think that registration is going to close like after this weekend. So if you're interested in registering, by the time you hear this, it's time to get registered. So
end of Saturday.
Pretty much, yeah. Get on that. After that, I'll also say too, for Devin, the Nathan Payton seminar is the weekend in between. I believe it's November 16th.
That is correct.
Yes, at Training Grounds Gym. If you're interested in that at all, his nutrition stuff, like we just watched the Giants live stuff, and you just see him in the background of like every fucking shot because he works with everybody in major strongman shows.
Yeah, you can tell he's wise with the Gandalf beard.
Absolutely,
right,
yeah. If there's somebody who knows something, it's him. Yeah. So with that, we will sign off. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.